Alright, so I'd like to make this a quicker video, but I'm not sure how it will end up in editing and stuff, and I might ramble on again. But I want to talk about the Kotegaeshi wristlock again, for a billionth time. But this time, besides showing that it is actually a functional technique, it's also to explore the topic of labeling martial arts on YouTube, and sort of in general, because this technique is always associated with Aikido, and it's probably most recognizable from Aikido, even though it exists everywhere. And I think it's a perfect example to show how distinctions between martial arts have more to do with the culture, the specific practice, the philosophical backing, rather than the actual physical techniques or what the biomechanics of the whole thing are. Because biomechanics are universal. So in this video, I'm gonna take a look at a couple of clips where I have done the Kotegaeshi takedown in live sparrings and in rolling. What I want to show here is that even though these are all Kotegaeshi, the outward wrist lock, and they're conceptually almost the same, there is a key difference between all of these techniques presented here. Some of them are more in line with Aikijitsu / Aikido, and some are more JuJitsu. And why I'm making that distinction here is because of the Aiki, which from all I understand translates to I, joining, and Ki, energy. So joining energy or blending in that sense. And like Jujitsu, and when you put the word do, which often is translated as way, like in judo, but it's also used in like karate do, to make the distinction between what this prefix principle can teach you in the sense of living, while jitsu, like jujitsu, is more about the actual technique. So like by that, jujitsu would be more about the actual function of a martial art, while judo is more about what this martial art practice can teach you. Not for fighting, just in general. So that's why I'd call all of these Kotegaeshi either Jujitsu or Aikijitsu. I wouldn't really call them Aikido because there's no element of, at least not specifically, it teaching me universal concepts because I've only had a couple of Aikido classes in my life. So all that we're doing, we're more focused on the function and the Jujitsu / Aikijitsu aspect of it. Now, why is there a distinction made here between Aiki Jujitsu and Jujitsu? Is because some of these Kotegaeshi examples are in line with the Aiki, with the blending and joining energies, and some are totally not, but they're also Kotegaeshi. So for instance here, this is very much in line with Aiki Jiu-Jitsu, even though this is an MMA sparring, but as you can clearly see, the technique is performed once my opponent was moving in that direction. He made a step, I joined energies, or the momentum, and that's what resulted in the fall. That's a very Aiki thing to do. So that one I did with Armando is a great example of a Aikido / Aiki Jiu-Jitsu Kotegaeshi. This one here that was just pure grappling that I did with Orsat is more of a Jiu-Jitsu variant because there was no utilization of Aiki here. I didn't blend with the energies. I forced the technique, and that's why it looks weird here, because he had an underhook and I went over so that he cannot defend that hand and cranked like a motherfucker, and he fell to the floor. There was no real Aiki there. That was just me forcing the thing on his poor wrist. So I've done Kotegaeshi a bajillion times in rolling, in MMA, in Jiu-Jitsu, with various people with various backgrounds, and it's never really the same. Conceptually, it's an outward wrist lock. In Chinna, I think I've seen it called butterfly wrist lock, but again, it exists everywhere, in every form of grappling that you'll find. And it's recognizable because you're twisting the wrist out. But the differences here are minute in intention, execution, and mostly philosophy of what you're trying to achieve. This is where we get into the problem of labeling martial arts, on YouTube specifically. If I want to show that this technique is legit, I don't see there being a problem with me calling this an Aikido technique because it exists in Aikido, even though sometimes it doesn't follow the Aiki principles. So technically it's not correct. But it will get people going, it will interest people. But also, nothing is stopping me from calling this butterfly wrist lock and putting Chin Na Kung Fu in the title. And if I really want to be pedantic, then even then it's hard, because I originally saw and learned this technique from Chin Na. But currently I'm practicing Japanese JuJitsu and I do Aikido. So I can call it both. But since we're focused on the JuJitsu, or the function of the martial art here on this channel right now, I don't give a crap what I call it. It just goes to show that these barriers are arbitrary. This either works or it doesn't. And currently that's what we're interested in here. All these topics are fascinating and everybody could go in so much depth in analyzing all this, taking a look at the history, comparing philosophies and why this martial art works this way, this one this way. Are these the same thing? No, they're not because of this. At the end of the day, our bodies follow the laws of physics and things either can work in a fight or they can't. If you really want to go in depth into like Aikido stuff, I think a great growing channel that I'm totally not jealous of at all, it's called Tengu. That channel has awesome videos. So if you want to go in depth with Aikido stuff, go subscribe and go watch that channel. It's awesome. This probably ended up being a huge long ass video again. To quote the daddest man on the planet, sorry DC, it is what it is. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Take care. Subscribe. Check out our other work. We got a bunch of videos. Wing Chun Sean Strickland video is performing amazingly. Comment section is awesome there, so chime in, but please be civil. Have a debate. Don't be douchebags. Don't be condescending. Looking at this and seeing some things I've said in the past on this channel, kind of ironic coming from me. I gotta stop talking. Take care.